I would say that it's important to note that this crisis mostly came from it being a bank run. So a majority of banks actually are underwater in terms of their securities portfolios. But it's something that if you just hold to maturity, they're not going to they're not going to owe a lot of money there. So it's something that I think is less of a concern now because people feel safe. When they were worried that they would lose their uninsured deposits, I think that's when we really had an issue. But now that that's not a concern, I'm not expecting this to continue for a majority of banks.
Alex, just really quickly as well, are you worried about any other banks in terms of the fact that their on-call interest rates or the interest rates on their on-call deposits are relatively low? And a lot of people now are going to be realising, hey, I can just scoop into a money market fund and pull out my money that's only earning 1.5% and get 4 or 5% by doing that.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for the three banks that went down was diversification. Right, so Silvergate had a majority of their deposits in crypto. Signature Bank didn't, but unfortunately they got the reputation that they did. And then SVB, was a majority in venture capital and private equity. So other banks are much more diversified. And yes, there is concern that deposits will run off, like you said. But if they run off in the fact that people are just looking for higher yields, it will compress margins, but it's not going to cause a bank run.
What are you sensing, Alexander, would happen right now? Would the takeover of SVB happen by a big bank, which many are dismissing at this point in time? Would it be a more regional consolidation, keeping in line with their mandate and their focus?
Yeah, there is definitely an issue with the larger players. I know JP Morgan people have talked about, but they are already the largest bank in the US. So I think that would be a bad look. So I do sort of like the take that it could be one of the larger regional banks. The
Citi
only
and
issue
Bank of
there.
America also didn't fall that much on Friday.
You said they did not fall much on Friday?
Yeah, on Friday. I'm looking at the Friday close. They didn't as well fall that much. Yeah.
Yes, so I think Thursday was the initial shock where everybody just freaked out and sold. And then Friday, people actually started to look at which banks were in trouble. And those banks are very diversified. I believe Bank of America has over 50% of their deposits insured. So Friday, I think, was the day where people started to look at the larger banks and realize that they were going to be fine. It was only specialized banks. First Republic, people had talked about, but I'm really glad to see that they have gotten a lot of support actually from JP Morgan, and then they got that extra capacity for lending. So I think I'm really glad to see that they've gotten support because they got unfairly grouped in. I think a much more conservative bank, more diversified, more insured deposits. So that was one I was a little bit worried about, but I really think it's well run, and I think their future's still bright.